Good afternoon and welcome to today's session. All lines are on listen-only mode. This call is being recorded and will be posted on the QC website. If you have any objections, please disconnect now. If you have questions, please enter them into the Q&A box located in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you have joined using a browser other than Chrome or Firefox, please disconnect and join using one of them. Or if you are experiencing any technical difficulties, please use the raise hand icon and someone will assist you. With that, I will turn it over to our Director of Single Family Underwriting, Steve Glancy. Steve, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to Freddie Mac's Let's QC quarterly webinar series. So my name is Stephen Glancy. I'm one of the directors of quality control here. And here with me today are Henry Chung, a business analyst in our central processing team, Kevin Hannigan, a quality control manager, along with Aaron Garcia, our risk policy manager, and Layla Mahan, a web content developer in our marketing department. So in a few moments, you will get a chance to meet them and hear about their topics. So in these series, we typically share with you the defects that our QC department sees and present scenarios for particularly challenging situations. However, this quarter, we will focus on some of the tools that we have developed for our clients that help them manage their business with Freddie Mac. We will have updates from different business areas. And as we continue to strengthen the relationship with our community lenders, our goals for these Let's QC quarterly calls remain to provide training and guidance, allow transparency and insight into our quality control loan review process, and to give you useful information to incorporate into your underwriting and QC processes. So let's meet the team. And as most of you know, I'm Steve Glancy and I'm a director of quality control. I'm currently heading into my 12th year at Freddie Mac, and I've been in this industry since 2003 with almost all of that time in underwriting and quality control. So let me say that I'm really excited to kick off this final year of our series with these three topics. So I opted to skip the trending defects this quarter in order to allow sufficient time for these very, very important topics. So Henry, how about you introduce yourself and your topic?
Thanks, Steve. My name is Henry Chung, and I'm a business analyst in QC processing. I just recently celebrated my 10th year with Freddie Mac. Today, I will be going over all the available methods to deliver a loan file to QC and the specifications required for loan file delivery. Now, I will let Kevin introduce himself and his topics.
Thank you so much, Henry. My name is Kevin Hannigan, and I've been with Freddie Mac for 8 years, with the last 4 as a quality control manager. If there's one question I get a lot from clients, it's what does our QC look like to you? I'm excited to join today and share how easy it is to keep up to date with your QC results and share our tools. I'll pass it over to Aaron.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Aaron Garcia, the Guide Transformation Manager. I've been with Freddie Mac for a little over 5 years. Prior to this role, I was the underwriting manager for 1-800-FREDDIE, which I probably spoke to some of you. With that said, I'll hand it over to Layla Mahan.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, I'm Layla Mahan, and I'm the lead strategist for the guide at guide.freddiemac.com. And I've been at Freddie Mac for just under 4 years. I've spent my entire Freddie career working on the guide, and I'm so excited to show you all the recent changes we've made to make the guide work better for you. With that, I'm going to hand it back over to Henry to share his topic on loan file delivery.
How do we send our loan files to quality control is a common question we receive within QC processing. With technologies and processes constantly changing, I will go over the available delivery methods to deliver loan files to quality control and the guidelines for electronic file delivery. The process begins with the QC sample request. The basic QC sample requests go out 2 times a month, typically on the 9th and 15th business days of the month. Smaller specific samples may be sent out at any time. There are 3 basic review types, as well as combinations of these review types. These are compliance loan, CPL, performing loan, PL, and non-performing loan, NPL. Lenders have 30 days to deliver the requested files. You have received a QC sample request and need to deliver the requested files. How can you easily deliver these files to Freddie Mac? There is more than one way to deliver files to Freddie Mac. We have 2 delivery portals available, Quality Control Advisor and Document Management System. Files are also accepted through Managed file transfer, or MFT, which is a secure file transfer protocol established directly with the lender company. First, there is Quality Control Advisor, commonly referred to as QCA. Quality Control Advisor is a secure, web-based, end-to-end solution for managing the entire post-funding quality control and remedy process. Quality Control Advisor allows users to view their samples, upload loan files, view loan review status, upload missing documents, manage remedies, and view multiple reports. Single and multi-doc upload is available in QCA. The multi-doc upload will allow users to upload up to 20 files at a time. As part of Loan Advisor, access is managed through the Freddie Mac Access Manager, and the central processing external read-write rule will be required to deliver loan files. Once you're in Quality Control Advisor and have accessed loan file management, the landing page is the Quick Reports tab. This tab provides you with a snapshot of all pending transactions in your pipeline. Once a file request, document request, or appeal has been submitted, you will no longer find the record on this page. If you would like to view the status and history of files after submission, you can pull every loan in your sample from the Loans tab. If you have a missing or incomplete document request, you may view these records on the Document Request tab and Appeals on the Appeals tab. The document upload log is a great way to validate that we have received the documents you uploaded. In the Loans tab, the document upload process offers two different approaches dependent on how you would like to utilize the system: single or multi-doc upload. You can initiate the single upload process by selecting an individual record on the grid, then select the upload document. However, if you would like to upload multiple documents, make sure no records on the grid are highlighted prior to selecting the Upload Documents button. Please be mindful when uploading multiple documents. You must follow a naming convention. The naming conventions are listed on the Upload Documents pop-up window for convenience, but should be Freddie Mac loan number _ doc type. For example, a subject loan file would be Freddie Mac loan number _ LN, or a missing or incomplete doc would be Freddie Mac loan number _ MD _ INC. Once files have been uploaded, you can then verify the upload status column shows complete in the document upload log. The upload status column will show error if any are encountered during the upload. A description of the error will be provided in the error column. As previously stated, please be mindful of the naming convention as it is typically the #1 error. The second delivery portal is Freddie Mac's document management system, known as DMS. DMS is often preferred by smaller lenders or those with slower internet connections. The process for signing up and gaining access can be quicker with DMS than Quality Control Advisor. However, DMS does not have the reporting or tracking features that are available in Quality Control Advisor. DMS allows you to easily search for your loans and upload documents for a single loan. Last, we have our Managed File Transfer, also known as MFT. MFT uses a secure file transfer protocol to allow you to deliver your files to Freddie Mac QC. Lenders delivering 50 or more files a month may find this option helpful. Setup with your IT departments is required and typically can be completed within a 6 to 8 week time frame to include IP address whitelisting and testing. File naming conventions do apply for files delivered through MFT. There are some limitations for electronic file delivery, and the file delivery guideline can be found on the single family page at freddiemac.com. These guidelines provide the specifications for delivery, such as how the files and folders should be named and acceptable formats. Files should be provided as a single PDF file. Please merge all your documents into a single PDF file. We will not accept files delivered as multiple PDFs, single-page TIFF documents, Excel, Word, text, or HTML documents. Files should not be password protected or have any document restrictions. It is important to note the file size requirements are limited to 100 megabytes and a maximum of 1,000 pages. Files over this limit will be returned. A document checklist is provided with each loan file request, and different documents are required based on the review type. Using the correct document checklist can help prevent file rejection and missing or incomplete document requests. The document checklist is a suggested order. It is not required that files are delivered in this order, but it is helpful. I want to touch on the missing and incomplete documents here. A missing document is for a document that should have been included in the file, but it may not be critical, and the review will continue through to an underwriter. An incomplete document is also a document that should have been included in the file, but is considered critical to the file review or re-verification process. And the review process will continue until the condition is cleared. Specifically, these documents are the signed loan application, the borrower's authorization, or a complete legible loan file. Like missing docs, incomplete document requests are due in 14 days. Unlike missing docs, an incomplete document request that is not delivered will result in a repurchase request. A remedy for an incomplete loan file is treated differently than a remedy for any other reason. This type of remedy is cured by delivering the loan file, and the review will begin again at the image index phase. To promote successful file delivery, let's talk about some best practices. A document checklist is provided with each loan file request, and different documents are required based on the review type. A common error is delivering files for performing loans that were compiled using the compliance checklist. Due to the difference in documents required for the reviews, when these files are received, they are missing many of the core critical documents which are required for performing loans. Using the correct document checklist can help prevent file rejection and missing or incomplete document requests. The document checklist is a suggested order. It is not required that files are delivered in this order, but it is helpful. Delivering the files as a single PDF is important because of the difficulty in determining if we received all parts of the file. Multiple PDFs could be duplicates or commingled containing documents from more than one borrower or a subject loan file and a refinance. When multiple PDFs are combined, they often exceed the file size guidelines. All of these scenarios can delay the process and may result in incomplete or missing document requests or repurchase for an incomplete loan file. For a third best practice, deliver loan files, missing docs, and appeals only once. The processing of the documents can be delayed or considered duplicates and may not be considered delivered. It is best to deliver once and utilize the tools available in Quality Control Advisor to check the status. Also, when delivering missing documents or appeals, send only the documents requested. Please do not resend the entire loan file. If the entire file is received a second time, it will be considered a duplicate and the missing documents or appeal request will remain open. Last, please do not send documents that are locked or password protected. We are unable to process files without full access to the documents, and an incomplete file request may be issued. Do we have any questions?
We will now be taking questions. If you do have a question, as a reminder, please enter it in the Q&A box located in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. We'll just give it a moment for folks to collect their thoughts. All right, I do not see any questions yet at this time. If you do have questions about this topic, please feel free to enter those in. We'll be sure to get those addressed. So with that, I will turn the call over to Kevin Hannigan. Kevin?
Thanks, Kathleen. One role I've enjoyed as a quality control manager is sharing our QCA tool because it puts the power, data, and the results of our quality control reviews right into our clients' hands. QCA is a fantastic one-stop shop that lets you review your QC results, drill down on deficiencies, and even run reports on loans that have been sampled. As we go into the QCA tool, think about how the features we discuss can enhance your internal quality control processes and how you can use the tool to always stay up to date with your QC results. Before we jump in, I wanted to share some very quick facts about QCA. First, QCA updates every day, so the data you review is available to you 24/7, 365 days a year. Anytime you use the tool, you have the current information at your fingertips. QCA lets you pull reports directly from the tool. You can populate data into Excel sheets that are sortable and can be drilled down at your discretion. This makes for easy analysis, creation of pivot tables as you would any Excel sheet, and the ability to recognize, address, and stay on top of trends. Lastly, QCA is customizable to include as little or as much data as you'd like, typically over the past 2 years. We will show you how to do just that in this presentation. Let's jump in. When you log into the tool, this will be your landing page. From here, you will want to select Management Reporting to advance directly into QCA. This will place you directly into the tool, so click here and you're up and running. When you open QCA, you'll immediately notice a tab format that is progressive in style at the top of your screen. These tabs include Review Results that offers cumulative QC data, Deficiency Results that drills down to your top 5 deficiencies and offers graphs, monthly deficiencies, Missing Documents that shows statistics on incomplete files and delivered to Freddie Mac, Appeals that shows the success rate of appeals, and Peer Comparison that lets you see how you measure up against cumulative data of our client base on a tiered basis. At any time, you can go directly to any one of these tabs depending on what you're looking for. Let's start from the beginning and take a look at highlights of each tab, starting with the Sample and Delivery tab. The first tab is Sample and Loan Delivery. This screen is very customizable, and the filter section is very similar to what you'll see in most of the upcoming tabs. Once you feel comfortable setting your filter, the rest of the tabs will feel easy. To set your filters, we start by determining the date range you want to pull data from. The tool is so flexible that you can pull data going back as far as 2 years, or you can customize it for the last 2 months. Whatever timeline you want, the tool can do it. Click on the calendar under Start Date to establish how far back you want data for. Then do the same for the end date. When you've picked these 2 dates, the system knows the timeline you want to see. With your dates now set, the tool lets you drill down to the type of file you want data for. The most common sample types used by our clients are PL base, or randomly sampled performing loans, and PL target, or loans sampled based on Freddie Mac's proprietary methodology. You can select either of these options or pull a report with both. The choice is yours. As a side note, the tool also offers data on CBR loans, or component-based reviews, as well as NPL loans, or non-performing loans. From a QC perspective, PL base and PL target are the most commonly sampled groups, so we'll just focus on these for now. When you've selected your sample types, click on the blue check mark at the bottom, and then click Filter to watch the graphs morph and customize to the data you selected. Your results are in, and your customized page includes file delivery timeline, or the average time it takes for your files to be delivered to Freddie Mac, initial complete loan file rate, or loans that did not require a missing documentation request, the current status of your pending reviews and where they stand in the form of a bar graph, and a line graph sharing your historic sampling. This itemizes the sample type you previously selected when you set your filters. This tab offers a high-level overview of your pipeline. Let's check out the Review Results tab. The Review Results tab is the perfect spot when you're looking for a graphic to see the outstanding remedy loans or the historic results of your QC reviews. Similar to the first tab, the filter section is the same with one addition. You can review results by either the file's funding date or by the review close date, which shows the chronological history of when Freddie Mac's final decision was made. To view results, indicate the date type by selecting funding date or review close date, the date range, and the sample type, just like before. Once you click Filter, you're going to see those graphs change once again right before your eyes. There are key elements you'll see populate. First, a bar graph populates, summarizing the current outstanding remedies. You'll notice this offers results in 30-day buckets, so you can always see how old your current outstanding remedies are. Scrolling down this page offers us even more. The bottom of this tab shares the review results completed during the date ranges you selected. The quality control results share the quantity of loans decisioned, the number and percentage of each decision, and the amount of loans that received a remedy decision. The Remedies section includes loans in process or outstanding, as well as closed loans that have been either repurchased or had an alternative to repurchase completed. There's also a very important key that often flies under the radar, and if you aren't looking for it, you might miss it. They're hyperlinks. For anyone that likes a good overview, but also wants the details that make up that overview, you will absolutely love the QCA tool. If you look closely, you'll notice the numbers in light blue are actually embedded hyperlinks. These links can be clicked on, and the system will let you generate an Excel sheet by exporting the data you're looking at into a loan level Excel sheet. If you see a light blue number or the term View Details, you have an Excel sheet ready at your fingertips. For example, if you want to see what loans make up your remedy number, simply drag your cursor over the number appearing directly below the percentage, hit click, and the system will begin generating an Excel sheet with all the data that makes up the number you're looking at. Your newly created document offers several data points for all loans that received a remedy decision. Now you have an Excel sheet that you can sort, analyze, or create pivot tables as you would any other Excel sheet. Whatever you need, the tool lets you decide how detailed you want to get or how much you want to see. If you're not sure, you can always start higher on the page and then drill down on the Excel sheet. You're in control. Want to know what loans were acceptable? Click on the number under Acceptable. Want to know what loans you successfully appealed? Click on the number under Rescinded Remedies. The possibilities are endless. You have the data. Let's check out the Deficiency Results tab. This tab is ideal for reviewing specific results if you're monitoring your quality control department, looking for frequent deficiencies, or simply trying to stay ahead of trends as you develop internal training. Regardless, this tab is the dream for anyone that wants to monitor performance and stay on top of their remedies. Does the filter section look familiar yet? By now, you're probably getting to be an expert on this. Choose your timeline, select your sample type, hit the blue check mark, then click Filter and watch the magic start. The results provide you two key graphs. First, the top 5 deficiencies resulting in remedy show on the left side of your screen so you can immediately identify the most frequent top 5 deficiencies. These deficiencies are fairly specific to offer you detail around what made loans ineligible for sale to Freddie Mac and let you drill down to this trend pretty quickly. The tool will also tell you how many loans had each deficiency for the time period you selected. For a loan level list, you can always click on View Details and you've got your Excel sheet in hand. To the right, you'll also see the graphical representation of the historic deficiencies. This is a great way to see a high-level view of the trending and if there are any upward trends that may be a cause for concern, or maybe you're in the middle of a strong streak as of late. It's not only a tool to view concerns, but it's also a tool that can be used to celebrate strong results with your team as well. Timely training is important for everyone, so by routinely using the QCA, you'll stay on top of what's happening now and how best to monitor, train, and keep your team updated. Lastly, you'll notice there's a slightly more generic deficiency tracker at the bottom of this tab. Here we break down the deficiencies into more broad categories such as income, credit, and collateral. This is often used as a quick eyeball of what categories the deficiencies fall under. To the right is a line graph offering the historic tracking to see how recent the deficiencies have been. This graph may also be used to identify traction of your quality controls focus. Maybe your QC team has been focusing on income. This graph can be used to support progress with a graphical representation of improvement. Of course, all this data is also exportable into an Excel sheet for all your analyzing fun. Next up is the Missing Document tab. This tab is quite simple and easy to monitor. Since we've all become masters at selecting your filters, I don't need to tell you how to do it, but after you do it, you'll immediately see your missing document rate in a gray box to the left. This tells you the percentage of loans that were delivered, but were missing critical documentation that prevented Freddie Mac from rendering a decision. The higher this number is, the longer it will take to decision and close out the review of your files. Immediately to the right, you'll have a breakdown of loans that are currently missing documents and need to be provided. These loans cannot be decisioned until those documents are provided. These missing documents must be provided within 14 days or the loan is not eligible for sale to Freddie Mac. You'll also see a breakdown of how many days have elapsed since the request for missing documentation. As of day 14, a repurchase is required, so this is an excellent tool to make sure the missing documents are provided. It's always best to get these in as soon as possible. After all, no one wants a remedy letter for a document that was just missed from the original loan file. At the bottom of your screen, we'll also provide you the historic performance of how you've satisfied previous missing documentation requests. The response timeline breaks down the percentage of missing docs that were satisfied between 0 and 7 days, 8 to 14 days, and anything over 14 days. The quicker, the better. Below this, you can also review how many missing documents have had to be requested over the timeline you've selected. You'll see a month-by-month breakdown, and if you really want to see the details, yeah, I think we're all familiar with the Excel sheets by now. The View Details link will always be there for you and will give you all the loan level information you need. Lastly, you'll see to the right a breakdown of what specifically makes up your missing documentation requests. This is always a great resource to determine if or where there could be an area of focus to explore how to reduce missing documentation requests. Many clients have used this to modify their process for delivering files, since it drills down the specific section of the file that frequently is missing. By knowing what drives missing documentation requests, you can inspect what you expect and alleviate those requests so you can spend that time elsewhere. Finally, let's check out this last tab, the Appeals tab. This tab often is the feel-good tab for many of our clients, but the information that can be taken from the screen is often underappreciated. There are 3 gray boxes along the top that offer you your appeal submission rate, your appeal accept rate, and your appeal decision timeline. The appeal submission rate is the percentage of remedy loans that have been appealed. This is different from the appeal accept rate, as the appeal accept rate is basically the success rate of your appeals. The appeal success rate is often the one that will make you feel good. This box can share how effective your appeal process is and if the time invested is paying off. Finally, the box on the far right shares the average number of days it takes Freddie Mac to deliver a decision on your appeals. We strive to keep that number under 30 days. That is always our goal. For those that were missing the View Details link, don't worry. I know we didn't mention it, but yes, you do have the ability to populate loan level Excel sheets from here as well. Click on the bottom right of these 3 gray boxes and you'll get your Excel sheets. The bottom half of the page starts with an orange box that is a strong tool to track how long you have to submit your initial appeal. Freddie Mac offers you the ability to submit an appeal within 60 days of a remedy decision or a remedy letter. It's very important to monitor what loans need to be reviewed for a possible appeal and how long you have to submit that appeal. The cutoff for Freddie Mac to receive an appeal is 60 days. After 60 days, the loan requires a repurchase. The complete loan level list can always be populated from this screen. At the bottom of the screen, the QCA tool shares appeal trending over the past 12 months and lets you view how many appeals you've submitted over the last year. The results of the appeals are provided on the right in a bar graph to track how many appeals were denied, how many were accepted, and how many are still pending. The trending and results is always a great way to stay on top of your appeals. As mentioned on the previous slide, Freddie Mac offers 60 days from the date of the repurchase demand to submit an appeal. For further reference, Freddie Mac's Guide section 3602.8 outlines the process for appeals and illustrates that 60-day timeline requirement. If not submitted within 60 days, the right to challenge the finding is surrendered and a repurchase is required. I just want to take a very quick second to acknowledge you may have noticed there is a plnaq tab listed last on the tabs. Unfortunately, it is not available due to it requiring a substantially higher amount of sampled loans for the tab to be considered statistically relevant. The amount of sampled loans needed for this tab is significantly greater than what most of us on this call are being sampled at. So this tab is not functional as a result. But the good news is I hope you've seen a lot with the tabs we have reviewed. I know this has been a lot to take in, but I hope this has been a good high-level overview of the QCA tool, and it encourages you to log in and try it out. Once you begin using it and incorporating it into your quality control workflow, you'll always know exactly where your loans are, what the results are, and what results you can be eagerly awaiting. By using this tool, you are in control of your QC, and you always know exactly how your quality control looks. This is truly managing your pipeline.
We will now be taking questions. If you have a question, please enter it in the Q&A box located in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. We do have a question, Kevin. The question is, you mentioned there is a maximum time to submit appeals. Do we only get one appeal?
That's a really great question. So the appeal process, again, can be found in section 3602.8 of the Freddie Mac Guide. Here we actually outline the availability of 2 appeals. While we offer 2 opportunities to rebut the original findings, it's very important to note the timeline of each appeal is vastly different. The initial appeal, as we've been discussing, has a maximum of 60 days to deliver. Freddie Mac does offer a second appeal opportunity, but that appeal must be submitted within 15 days in order to be considered valid and must be accompanied by a new documentation that materially influences the loan decision. Section 3602.8 of the guide does a great job of outlining the full appeal process and outlining everything for you. So feel free to keep that section handy when you're using the QCA tool.
All right, great. Our next question is, what do we need to do to get access to the QCA?
Kevin, I'll take that one. This is Steve again. So, I just dropped a link to it in the chat because I thought this question might come up too. You essentially just go to our Freddie Mac website. It's under our Loan Advisor suite. It's actually a part of our Loan Advisor suite. It's just one of the many tools that we offer. If you click that link, you can really get to it very easily by Googling Freddie Mac QCA, and it'll take you right to the link. And then there's a little blue button that says Get Access, and you just click there and you start the process. And every seller servicer that we have that does business with us and sells loans to us has the ability to go in and look at their pipeline.
Thanks, Steve. I don't see any further questions. Oh, I take that back. We do have one that just popped in. Let's see here. Just trying to read the whole thing. I'm new to this function for our team and replacing the only team member who handled this with no procedures left behind. Where would I be able to find the Freddie Mac guide for reference?
Actually, the Freddie Mac Guide generally, again, similar to what Steve said, and we'll have a resource page later in the presentation, but Freddie Mac's website will have that available for you.
And Kevin, to add, if they're looking for like a user guide for QCA, when you are in the QCA system, there is a little, I think it's a question mark or a help feature in the top right corner, and that will give you, there is a laundry list of FAQs and tutorials and guides to go through. And again, on our homepage, when you get access, there's also a live chat. As you go through, if you go to the link that I posted, there's 4 different sections of QCA. So your loan reviews, your remedy management, your management reporting, your loan delivery. There's actually, in the link I posted where you get access, there's training resources, and one of them is the user guide, the complete user guide. There's 3 different training resources that are in there. So if you're looking for QCA directed training, It's all in the bottom of that link. If you literally Google Freddie Mac QCA, it'll take you to a homepage that has all of that information on there.
All right, great. Thank you. There are no further questions at this time, so we'll turn the call over to Aaron Garcia. Aaron?
Hey everyone, Layla and I are very excited to show you all the new features and enhancements we've introduced in our digital guide. Shortly, Layla's going to go over a live demo of the site where we can show the full tour and share some of our favorite tips and tricks. But first, let's go through a high-level overview of what we're going to show you today. Many of these enhancements were made in direct response from clients like yourselves, and we encourage your feedback. On always, we like the fact that we get to improve your experience and make it easier to work with us. Here on the screen, you can see newly redesigned homepage for our digital guide. We've provided quick access to other areas of Freddie Mac, the ecosystem, like the single-family website, the Client Resource Center, within our navigation. As we move down, you'll see an emphasis of guide-related resources that we pulled together to help bridge the gap in between contractual language and the resources that help put those guidelines into context.
Hey everyone, I'm going to talk through some of our navigation options. I will go more in depth in a few minutes when we move into our live demo, but I want to share that with this redesign, we really aim to emphasize different navigation paths. There is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to working with the guide, but our goal is to offer a path that best suits any guide visitor. One new addition is our Mega Nav, which is a design that we stole from our friends on the single family website. You can use this navigation available through segment level links that always stay at the top of your screen to filter your way through to a specific topic in our guide.
Here we can see a view of our Browse Guide page. At a high level, this page lists every single section of the guide and offers a few ways to narrow down what you're looking for. You can expand or collapse different areas on the right-hand side. You can also filter using our filters on the top of the screen. You can even use keyword search. This slide shows the tooltip, which offers an inline definitions for almost every word that appears in our glossary. Certain words like guide or bulletin are omitted to leave a cleaner experience. We added this feature in response to feedback from you, our clients. We heard from you as well as 1-800-FREDDIE. That's a lot of questions were simply, hey, how do you define X, Y, and Z? This feature limits the need to pick up your phone by offering the answer right at your fingertips. This tooltip also includes a future effective definitions, and you can find the tooltip in any section, exhibit, or bulletin page.
Here we have our upcoming changes tab, which is home to all future effective changes to our guide. These changes are a very important part of our contract, and our new experience offers two ways of interacting with these changes. You can now browse by effective date. This is my favorite way to view, since oftentimes the changes going into effect on the same day are related to the same bulletin announcement. You can really see all of those changes in one nice clean view. You can also choose to view the future effective changes by content type. This lets you see all the upcoming section changes in chronological order, and the same thing with forms and exhibit changes.
And the last slide we have for you is our archive tab. This is one of our favorites because it came directly from feedback from our QC partners, including yourselves. We heard the need to easily access archive content while using the guide, so we pulled over a quarterly snapshot of the guide going all the way back to 2010. And now I'll kick it over to Layla, who will walk us through a live demo of the guide.
Thank you, Aaron. All right. Hopefully you all can see my screen. If someone can just let me know. All right. Great. Okay, so I'm going to be walking essentially an A to Z overview of everything that we have on this new guide experience. So I'm going to do an emphasis on the things that have changed, but I do just want to highlight as many features as I can that might be helpful for you all. So first, we're going to start on the home page here. First thing I'm going to call out here at the top is our global navigation. So this is one area that, that we've enhanced to make it easier for our clients to navigate around the different areas of the single family digital ecosystem, including the single family website and the Client Resource Center, as well as multifamily, capital markets, etc. Next, lower down, once we get to this white area, really everything else is going to be all about the guide. So here at the top, you're going to see that Mega Nav that Aaron and I mentioned earlier. This shows the kind of segment, series, and topic level breakdown of everything in the guide as one of our navigation options here. Up on the top right, you have our View All menu, which lists every different content type in the guide listed here as well, everything from bulletins to the glossary and directory, as well as a few links that are not actually part of our guide, but are useful for our guide users, including all regs and uniform instruments. One thing I'll call out here is you'll see this little window icon. That is going to be a theme you are going to see across the guide, which is going to indicate that when you click this link, you are going to be leaving the guide. You know that you are leaving the guide because any of these links are going to open up in a new window with a new URL that is not guide.freddiemac.com to help you all understand when you are part of the contract and when you are leaving the guide contract to another part of the system. Lastly, here we have our search guide icon. So we know, just like prior to our redesign, search is an incredibly important part about how our users use the guide every single day. So just like before, we have our search bar available on every single page of the guide. What this icon does is it doesn't matter how far down the homepage or how far down a very long section page you are, you can always click this search the guide. It's going to anchor you right up to the top and have your cursor blinking ready for you to type in whatever query you have. Next up here, we have our quick links, just a few links that we want you to be able to have at the tip of your fingers. And we're currently featuring our glossary as well as a link to all regs. With that, I'm going to move down our homepage, which we refer to as our featured resources, and talk through all the different banners we have here. First up, recent bulletins. Pretty self-explanatory. Bulletins always show what is latest and greatest in the world of the guide. So we have our most recent 3 bulletins here, as well as a link to view all bulletins. Next up, we have some policy resources. So as Erin mentioned during our slides, with this redesign, we really wanted to emphasize bringing in a lot of contextual resources, be it from our communications partners on the single family website or our training partners, essentially helping provide as many guide related resources on the guide as possible to make it easier to work with the guide and put our guidelines into context. Next up here, we have featured topics. So as an example, I'm going to click on one of these. I'm going to choose self-employed income. And again, you'll notice that this opened up in a new tab, and we have now made it to the Client Resource Center. What this topic is essentially a one-stop shop, A to Z, for anything you could need related to self-employed income when it comes to working with Freddie Mac. So this page is a compilation of guide resources, single-family website resources, as well as training, essentially guiding you through the entire process of working with self-employed income, hopefully answering any questions you might have. We have a whole host of other topics, which I encourage you all to go and explore on our Client Resource Center. Moving back over to the guide, a few more self-explanatory ribbons here. We have our exhibits and forms and documents. These are the top viewed and top searched for exhibits and forms that we just want to make one step easier for you to access. And then lastly, training. We work very closely with our training partners, and we work here to highlight what is latest and greatest and what we think is going to be the most valuable for our clients at any given point. So you can see a few featured trainings here as well. Moving down a little lower, we have download the guide. If for any reason you need for your records a full downloadable PDF version of our guide, here is how you can find that lower down on our homepage. Lastly, we have our contact area. So you can, if the guide does not answer any questions you have, you can always call our 800 Freddie line here. Once you're on the line with 800 Freddie, the agent can direct you to start a co-browse session, which is a fantastic screen sharing capability that we have to help you get your questions answered faster with our 800 Freddie agent on the phone with you. Next, I'm going to use my favorite little sneaky tool, this scroll to top button, to zoom me back up to the top, and I'm going to move over to our next tab called Browse Guide. So this is yet another navigation option that we have here. Browse Guide is essentially a long list of every single section in the guide, and you can imagine I can scroll for quite some time to get there. So we have a lot of sections, and we have a few ways for you to narrow down your results to the section that you're looking for. One, you can use these expand and collapse plus minus icons here to narrow your way down. You can also start filtering. So if I know I'm going to 3401, I can just toggle my way down, and I'm left with just a much shorter list of everything in my selection. I'm going to cancel that, and then I'm going to show you all the search section titles, which is essentially a keyword search. So as an example, I'm going to do quality control. So now what you have here is a listing of every single section in the guide that has quality control in the title of it. One major benefit to this view, in my opinion, is that you not only get to see what the section title is, but you also get to see it in the context of where it falls in the guide. We have a lot of sections with pretty similar or exactly the same name, and unless you're an incredibly seasoned partner of ours who's memorized this little decimal system here, It's very helpful to see where this falls in the guide hierarchy to make sure that you get to the right section in your first try. Next, I'm going to move over to bulletins. Again, relatively self-explanatory. Here we have a listing of all of our bulletins that we have published right now with some filter options where you can filter by date as well as by business function. Our bulletin area has the bulletin number, title, effective date, a short description to give you a little preview of what you're going to be seeing once you click into this bulletin, as well as the visible business function indicators here. Next, moving on to forms and documents. We have all of our forms and documents available on this page, and they are divided up into selling forms and servicing forms. If you happen to know exactly which form you are looking for, you can always download the PDF straight from here. If you want a little bit more content, you can always click in to the title here, and you can end up on this landing page where you can see a short description. If there are any related bulletins in the past 5 years, you will see those listed here. You can copy this link, print the page, and then go here to download the form. Next up, we have upcoming changes. As I was talking about earlier, our future effective content. So this is the default and my favorite view for this by date. So you can essentially see the next time we have a piece of content going into effect on the guide is going to be on the 28th of this month. And then you can scroll down to anticipate any other further changes. You can also view by type, which essentially lists all of our sections, followed by forms and any exhibit changes. One other non-guide resource, but guide-related resource I want to call out here is the summary of upcoming requirement changes PDF. Again, opening in a new screen here. This is a very valuable resource created by our partners in the communication team that essentially outlines all future effective content or content that has just recently gone into effect, giving you the headlines, the effective date, as well as the bulletin that it links back to. Over here, we have our archives tab, one of my favorites since this was fully introduced during our redesign. We now have archives available on the guide going all the way back to 2010. So if you want to get into any specific year, you can click anywhere in here, or you can always expand all to see everything. So for every quarter, we have 2 different files ready for you. We have one, which is a compilation of every bulletin and industry letter published in that quarter, as well as a snapshot of the entire guide as it was at the end of that. So the last thing I want to show you all is our search results page. So I'm going to type in an example here, post-funding quality control, and show you all what these listing pages look like. By default, our sorting basically goes by relevancy, as well as essentially prioritizing the links that people click most often. So our search gets smarter the more everyone uses it. So right here, we see bulletins also spliced in with sections. Want to also call out our filtering here. You can filter by segment of the guide as well as different categories. And an especially useful one is filtering by resource type. So if I'm looking for something related to post-funding quality control, I know that what I'm looking for is in a section. I can always click that section link, and then I'm left with just section. So as an example, I'm just going to click this one and show what one of these section pages looks like. You have our effective date here. Breadcrumbs in case you want to bounce around different areas within this area of the guide's hierarchy. You can also copy the link, especially valuable if you are composing an email where you need a few different links. It's helpful here that we have our URL with the actual section 3201.1 in there in case you have a list of emails, and you can also print. I also have related sections here, and scrolling down further, I'll call out one of the features that Erin mentioned during our slides, the glossary tooltip. So as you're scrolling through, you might see a subtle underlining here, and if you hover over the underlining, you are going to get the glossary definition that is associated with that word that you have there. Should you need, you can highlight and copy and paste this content, read it right here, or if you want to see this definition in the full context of the glossary, all of these titles are actually links. So you can click these and it'll anchor you directly to that area of the glossary that you're interested in, where you can end up leaving here, or you can bounce around different areas of our glossary to find what you need. So as a quick summary, I know search was the last thing that I did, and earlier on I was emphasizing navigation options. The main 3 paths that we would recommend using on the guide. First, if you know really exactly what you're looking for, you can always just put that right in the search bar. If you don't know exactly what you're looking for, but you know the right direction, you can use our mega nav here to kind of drop you about halfway down that hierarchy in your search. And if you kind of need to start from scratch and have all the options ready for you before you start filtering down, that's when I would head over to Browse Guide. And that is a wrap on my demo.
We will now be taking questions. If you have a question, please enter it into the Q&A box located in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Layla, we do have a couple questions that have come in. First one is, do we have a single repository for our FAQs? They seem to be everywhere.
Yes, we do. So on the guide, we currently do not have FAQs, but we do have a repository on our Client Resource Center. So from the guide, the fastest way to get to that is on this global navigation, click on Client Resource Center, new tab is going to open for you, and they prioritize this by adding FAQs up in the navigation here. So you can click on this FAQ, and then here the default shows you a listing of all the recent FAQs that have been updated. You also have the option to filter by business function as well as subtopics to narrow down what you're looking for. You can also go to all FAQs, a tab that I personally have bookmarked, where you can see that long-awaited repository of every single FAQ that Freddie Mac single family has available for you all.
All right, and the next question is, am I able to leave feedback on a section of the guide?
Yes, absolutely. And we are always very excited to hear any feedback that you have. As an example, I'm going to go over to Browse Guide, and I'm just going to pick a section at random. So if you are ever in any guide section and scroll down to the bottom, at the bottom of every section, you're going to see this client feedback box. And we encourage you to let us know if this section was helpful, yes or no, and then leave a comment with whatever thoughts you have about the experience that you had on the guide that day.
All right, I don't see any further questions yet at this time. So with that, we will turn it back over to Henry.
Excellent.
All right. As a reminder, for additional information, we encourage you to take advantage of the training and resources available from the Freddie Mac Learning Center. The customer call center provides seller service or support Monday through Friday at 1-800-FREDDIE.
And please visit the Freddie Mac single family website at sf.freddieMac.com and stay current with resources there, including the single family seller servicer guide at guide.freddieMac.com. You may also find additional guidance and information, including the recordings of our Let's QC webinars on the single family quality control page hyperlinked above.
Well, that ends our portion of the presentation for you today. We hope you enjoyed this webinar. We definitely enjoyed giving it and that you found it all useful. Steve, do you have any final words for us?
Yes, I wanted to thank all of our clients who joined us today for this call and let you know that we appreciate your business. As a reminder, if we did not get to answer any of your questions, we'll get back to you directly next week. I wanted to thank you and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.